You can worry about everything in life and try to keep improving it, and try to control other people so it gets better for you. Plan, strategize, think about it endlessly, but you won't have any peace of mind, nor will you have any regard or attention for enlightenment.
Yeah.
So handling all that by trying to solve it to some particular idea, and that idea changes because each day is different, you know. So trying to solve it to some idea actually just involves you in that.
Yeah.
It doesn't involve you in your heart recognition of enlightenment. So how to bring your heart to everything, even though the world and everything that's going on can be ridiculous or terrible or silly or even a little bit fun at times. You know? So how is enlightenment? So that just undoes the seeking immediately.
Yeah.
You don't have to see how you're seeking. You don't have to figure out how you're seeking. You don't have to prospect to figure out how to deal with your seeking. All you have to do is want enlightenment. Love enlightenment.
Hearing it was kind of like, okay, you know.
It's only when you have an agenda that you want something to work out here, you're willing to abandon your recognition of your love for enlightenment and the recognition that none of this really matters. You know, when you think that you want something to work out, you get very invested in it. And when you're invested in something, it's hard to, well, you know, just when you fall in love with somebody, that seems really all-consuming. And then there's a day when it comes like you're more interested in, you know, like who did the best art picture in the class than in considering and loving and thinking of your beloved. And then that's the day when it all becomes just an extension of you and your ego, you know, that love. Because you're more interested in things working out now that have to do with you appearing more satisfied or successful. So at one point it's like the love is just taken for granted and put in the back seat while your achievements are put in the front seat and you're driving to your achievement class, you know.
Yeah.
And even the sadhana becomes a whole bunch of steps of how you're going to achieve that success rather than how you are going to stay in that love and deepen that love. Because when you're in love, who would want to leave it? To achieve something. But that's the way of the world and the ego. You always want to forget about it, you know. Yeah. In the early years when I bonded to you all thought I was about making your life successful. That's what you thought enlightenment would be. That your lives would all work out in experience and be more satisfying, and that would be a form of enlightenment that I was going to help you or give you somehow. And now you see it's really your life has to be dedicated to enlightenment, to loving enlightenment, and why would that be a burden? Yeah. You just give up all the assumptions of your personal self-seeking for some whatever it is you're seeking, and sexuality, status. That's just about, there's not too much to seek in. It's either I'm going to get more recognized or I'm going to get more pleasurized. Pleasurized, recognized. Pleasurized, recognized.
Yeah, it just keeps.
Yeah. And then there's just the simple matter of survival. And you get to a certain age, you know how to do that. So it's not something you have to keep going over and getting really upset by and getting traumatized by it anymore, right? You're 28, you pretty much got it down now, right? It's not something that really requires that you have to be very upset about it. So a certain point in loving enlightenment and wanting to wake up, it's just a big wonderful love affair. Like when you're a kid, you just love being alive, just the energy of it, and running around and playing, and well, that's what you're doing. And the practice, that's enlightenment. That's what I'm doing every day. You see that in me, and that's what you should be doing. And yet you survive, and the survival shouldn't be a complication, nor should it be a means to seek. You know, if you're seeking in your survival, you're going to suffer. So as you get older, you learn how to do more work to ensure your survival and other people that you care about survival. But even then, it shouldn't be a distraction or a means to get to some special purpose or recognition or identity. I'm going to have more identity if I'm a musician or a social worker or a teacher, right? Artist, yeah.
So the mechanics of it, just the mechanics of it, like
Yeah.
car working or whatever.
Yeah, that's how we are here. What we ended up doing is what we're uniquely, our nature is qualified for. That's it. So it doesn't mean it's better than anybody else or worse than anybody else. It just means that that's how your life went in the terms of how you can survive, right? Yeah, and one of the things you should be investigating is why don't I want enlightenment more? Why isn't that my all-consuming passion? Why am I just busy at trying to look better or get better? What time do you do it at?
5:30.
Should be at 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 11:30, 3:15, 4. In fact, if you go throughout the day and say, I haven't been meditating in this day, that the 5:30 one's invalid. Doesn't mean anything. It's like breathing. You can't just breathe at 5:30.
Here we go.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that kind of passion where it's not when you sit down and you do it. It's with you all day. Your attention, your love, regard is with you all day and you're giving it, Remember you used to ask, how can you do your job on your job? Well, if you're not doing your job as a seeker, it's really easy. If you're a seeker, no. If you're trying to get something, you're trying to get sexy time with somebody, you're trying to get some status, or trying to be right, or trying to win, or something or other that people do in the world, right? Then you can't do japa. When you're invested in all that, you can't do japa. But when I was in my early 30s, I was going to art school. And everybody was in this mind of, I'm going to be a successful artist. It's going to be me. I'm going to be great. Da-da-da. How do you do this? I'm going to win. Oh, no, I'm going to lose, or this or that. And I would just come and just be present and just do the best I could and never left meditation. And the funny thing was, the meditation, samadhi was going deeper, and enlightenment was my constant companion. And also, I got better at art too. So it didn't take it anyway. So you do your job better. Why? Because you're trying to get something there that isn't really part of what is there. You're trying to force something on it, some idea you have, instead of allowing it exactly to be what it is. And in that, you can be in meditation and the sacred, be with the sacred. That's the real capacity, because you're leaving meditation to do something else, right? Yeah. And what is it you're trying to do? Well, that's your investigation, right? But the investigation doesn't have to go very long or very deep. It all just comes back to is, don't you love enlightenment? Don't you want to wake up? So what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
Where's your attention?
Not where's your attention. Where's your love?
Yeah. It's almost like you just see the value. You compare it.
Yeah.
This versus this. Oh, this isn't good. This is good.
Yeah. So, like I said, being a spiritual aspirant in every situation is the work of a spiritual aspirant. Just sitting down at 5:30 and being a spiritual aspirant, and then just doing whatever you do in the day, that's not it. You won't have peace of mind. I know when Yesko told me that she used to have a problem, with her spiritual practice, and I said, no, you're not having a problem with that. You have a problem that you're seeking. That's why it's not going deeper. If you do your practice, it goes deeper. You cannot do a practice. You cannot draw a painting and not have a painting. It's only if you're talking about having a painting and actually watching TV instead that you don't have a painting. So if you are doing the spiritual practice, you are having results in a practice. You'll see it. But if you're just saying you're doing it, and the whole day you're not really participating in it, like I said, it's a love affair. Why would you not want to participate in that love instead of saying, well, I could be the special person in the class now. I'm the boss and I can get some attention for that. Oh, I want to be the one who has advice and great wisdom for everybody else. So I will not love enlightenment right now. I will go after making me feel better. Yep, that's what you have to see. If you love it, you can't leave it. If your love's only this much, you leave it all the time. If your love's pretty big, you can never leave it. It's like being a kid. Who wants to work when you're a kid? You just want to play. That's your meditation when you're a kid. You're devoted to playing. Playing is all the fun there is. Who wants to work? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now, if you had that devotion to enlightenment, the way a child has devotion to playing, you would see every opportunity in your life is a means to do the practice in. Instead of like, oh, gotta section this off to get some me hit going on here, or me attention, or me success. When kids play, they just are in the flow of it. They're not really deciding anything about who's winning, who's losing, about who's more special. Adults are so vain. They're always doing that. All of this is just me illusion. Me. Everybody's in competition for everything. Nobody wants to share. Nobody wants to just give freely. Nobody wants to be vulnerable and intimate. Everybody wants to be on top. I didn't, even 5 years after I was enlightened, I was still saying Adidada's name all the time, all day long, all night long. What else is there?